Side. What's that?
That's like.
All right. It killed Charlie Kirk. What the fuck? Why can't I search this?
That's like 3-4 months worth of rice for a family. So the scoop is like here.
Cool guy right
so
here.
Each, I pull out this.
Fuck. Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, Ballistic.
Reaching the moon and stretching my limits, being a Girl Scout lets me grow into my strongest, bravest, and
ever since the notion has been put forward that somehow the 30-06 bullet didn't exit Charlie Kirk's body, people have just been losing their shit.
There's no way this could happen. I've killed more deer than chronic wasting disease, and I've never seen a bullet not exit. It should have left a basketball.
This guy's full of nonsense.
Minutes overtime.
Governor, the flag there hangs right above where Charlie Kirk was murdered. What does that flag mean in this moment?
That flag symbolizes 250 years of struggle, 250 years of improvement. It represents all of us, not one portion of us.
First day of class, it was 7 days since Charlie Kirk had been murdered there. The governor wanted to talk to some of the students, I think, to hear what their impressions were after a week, and also to give them some confidence that their country was going to move forward, that politics could be repaired.
I think it's important not to tell people they shouldn't disagree, that there's something.
And so we met Hunter Kozak and Jeb Jacoby. Jeb was a volunteer at the event. He was part of Turning Point USA.
He meant an inspiration to me. I watched his campus debates where he was able to communicate with other individuals in a pretty professional way when it came to debates about pretty much anything.
Professional,
and
Charlie Kirk,
I just found that admirable.
Yeah, Sorgan. Hey, Charlie.
Hunter Kozak, who would identify himself as a liberal, was there to debate Charlie Kirk, and tragically was the person who was speaking with Kirk at the very moment that the shot was fired.
Hopefully we're going to have a little bit more disagreement.
Yours was the last question that Charlie Kirk ever heard.
Yeah, there's a strange amount of weight to that. I don't really know how to grapple with that.
I mean, he's answered tens of thousands of questions, and that was the first question I've ever asked him. We never talked before that.
There's video of you in that moment. What was that moment like?
I thought I heard a firecracker, and I see his I see the bullet hit his neck, and
Hey, God.
I fall to the ground. I think I recognized immediately what this was. This wasn't necessarily like a mass shooting. This was like an assassination. I just remember I got up and I ran and I called my mom and I said, "Mom, Charlie Kirk's been shot." And she goes, "What?" And I said, "He's been shot." I literally watched a bullet enter his neck and I watched him die in front of me.
Alright. Thing is where is still neck?
This fall, heel pain and sore arches won't stop you. Hand-stitched leather boots deliver.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. Thank you for watching. Today we are going to be discussing a couple more theories surrounding the Charlie Kirk assassination. Now, I already gave my initial response in a previous video. I will link that here if you want to watch it. Senseless, pointless, and took a good guy away from his wife and kids. That's basically my opinion on it. Now, as expected with any high-profile tragedy like this, there are no shortage of conspiracy theories on the internet right now. So, today, we are going to be discussing the controversy surrounding the ballistics of the 30-06. So there are thousands of people out there right now, including very popular creators with large followings, who are convinced that the damage sustained from this shot was not consistent with the 30-06. They think it should have been way more severe. I'm not here to say yes or no. I just thought we would test the caliber for ourselves and find out in real time how much damage a 30-06 actually does. Now, before we get started, one thing I want to say is it recently came out that the bullet did not have an exit hole. The doctor said he found it just beneath the skin. A 30-06 to the neck with no exit wound, that is very unlikely. Some would even say impossible. I'm not going to say anything's impossible because we all know bullets do weird things, but obviously no one believed it. Everyone freaked out. And the way they released the story, they made it sound like the bullet went into his neck and then stopped in like 2 or 3 inches of flesh, which I would go ahead and probably say that is impossible. But since then, I have heard the theory that because of the trajectory the bullet was fired from, it curved downward and went into his back. And that would make a lot more sense. How many times have we shot fleshy targets and seen bullets take 90-degree turns and exit out the side, especially rifle rounds? It is pretty common to see that happen. So on my way here, I watched Mr. Guns and Gear's latest video. I highly recommend everybody go and watch that. He has a ton of experience and he broke it down very well. Gave it a low percentage chance, but not 0. And again, anyone that shoots a lot will tell you bullets are very unpredictable. So there's also people speculating on a body armor ricochet, which would make sense if there was no exit hole, because obviously a bullet hitting something like that would dramatically affect performance. The reason I do not believe this is true is because there's a ton of pictures of him right before the event started, and you can clearly see his chest through his t-shirt. And a lot of them you can even see his nipples, which is kind of a dead giveaway that he's not wearing armor and certainly isn't wearing rifle plates, which is what it would take to stop a 30-06. Another one that's out there, there's a lot of theories on this if you can't tell, is that the footage we all saw was actually the exit hole and he was shot from behind. I would say this is plausible, definitely possible. I can't say for sure yes or no because we don't have like real high-speed footage. But again, the doctor said there was no exit hole and they recovered the bullet just beneath his skin. So why would they lie about that? I really don't know. So with everything we just discussed, I completely understand why people are coming up with all these alternative theories. This happens every time there's a high-profile tragedy like this. And it seems like we're lied to on just about everything. So it's kind of hard to blame people who aren't believing the official narrative. What I will say is, personally, when I first saw the horrible video of Charlie's assassination, the very first words out of my mouth were, that was a 30 caliber rifle. The sound, the crack, the recoil of his body, and instant incapacitation, it just looked like a 30 caliber impact to me. Obviously 30-06 wasn't the round that came to mind because this is the 21st century, but I definitely thought it was a 308 or something like that.
the Kayak app to search and compare prices on flights, cars, and hotels from hundreds of travel sites. Then do what people do. Check sites.
Hey everyone, it's me, Jessie Tarlev. Scott and I are so enjoying doing these quick takes. We hope that you are enjoying consuming them. We are building our Raging Moderates community on YouTube and would be thrilled if you would subscribe.
Changes to military standards, including tougher fitness rules and the rollback of diversity programs. He even told officers who don't agree with him to do the honorable thing and resign. Let's watch a clip.
To remove the social justice, politically correct, and toxic ideological garbage that had infected our department. To rip out the politics. No more identity months, DEI offices, dudes in dresses. No more climate change worship. No more division, distraction, or gender delusions. No more debris. As I've said before, and will say again, we are done with that shit.
Jess, thoughts?
None of them are good.
Go ahead.
It's really embarrassing, certainly for me. And, you know, there are a lot of reasons that I wish we could kind of just like freeze time and get people to be open and honest and, you know, talk with candor about what they're feeling. I would love for one of those, you know, like in an old sitcom where you're like, freeze, right? And they can just tell you what they actually think. Like those people sitting in the audience who have spent their careers dedicated to protecting the U.S. at home and abroad and actually know what the warrior ethos or mentality is, are thinking, watching this guy parading around stage, talking to them like that. He also said, you know, no facial hair. I would imagine that they're feeling similarly to me about it, and also wondering like how they're supposed to continue commanding their troops and fostering an environment that people want to be a part of under these kinds of circumstances. You know, it's all for show, as usual, Department of War. You know, this is about your presentation in front of TV. And I spoke to someone who's close to a lot of folks at West Point, and said that they feel like they're in complete chaos at this point. And, you know, I don't think we talked about it, but you saw that they canceled. Tom Hanks was supposed to come and speak there and was getting an award. And, you know, President Trump said he's quote unquote woke, right? Someone who has been dedicated to veterans' causes and been part of some of the most impressive cinematic masterpieces when it comes to depicting war, that he's too woke. And, you know, but they don't know what to do. For an organization that is dedicated to order and hierarchy, how do you kind of rise up and push back against some of this?
You know, I like a renewed emphasis on fitness. I remember a guy I used to party with in college, a Phi Cap, who was ROTC. He had to learn how to sail. He was going into the Navy, and everyone in the Navy has to know how to sail. So he used to go down to the marina, and he had to learn how to become a competent sailor, even though he would, you know, aircraft carriers don't have sails on them. But I like stuff like that. I like a certain level of fitness. The problem is that meeting makes us less safe. And that's, at the end of the day, the Secretary of Defense isn't supposed to have performative meetings where, I mean, first off, just logistically, you can bet the GRU, the CCP, the Mossad, and every intelligence company was outside of that meeting getting pictures and names of every general that represents us abroad. It's just a security breach, and it's stupid to weaken us that way and make it so easy for our adversaries, intelligence operatives, to figure out who are the senior most military officials around the world. It was also just a security threat to have them in the same place so he could give this performative anti-woke bullshit. One of the really wonderful things about the military and the services is that it's been a place where competence, character, and skills really do. It was kind of one of the first egalitarian agencies. Now, granted, there was huge discrimination, but it was always sort of leading, you know, whether it was General Powell, who, you know, ultimately became our Secretary of State. There's nothing like being in a foxhole under fire and having to count on the person next to you to put all the bullshit aside, to not care what their sexual orientation is, to not care what the color of their skin is, to just be totally focused on, I've got to trust this person with my life, So all I care about is their character and their competence. And that is a wonderful thing. And the military has been a great place for advancing the prospects and rights of gay people and non-whites. Having said that, gays were kicked out of the military. That kind of gave rise to the incredible gay community in San Francisco, as that's where they were discharged. But what he is doing is not only making us less safe, but also 70% plus of people who show up.
No one could go this way. No one could go this way. So isn't that illegal? It is illegal. No. Bye. No. Bye. Hey, bye. Bye. Have a good day. All right. What's up, Smoke? What's up, guys? Your package come in yet, Snook? I think that this is all a ruse. This whole general shit is just a ruse. It's just Did you guys see the LSD shooter in his MAGA drip? No, I didn't see that. Look at Trump. Pissed off's got so many worshipers, dude. Look at this guy. Moss comes in. He's got pissed off on his brain. Oh my God. Let's see. I need to get gas. Fucking no gas. Let's see here. Oh my God. I got $80 in my pocket. Golly.
Army, Navy, Air Force, or Marines recruiting office don't qualify because they can't pass a mental fitness test or they're obese. And for him to send a signal to say, okay, woke people or gay people or women or trans people, they decided that if you're trans, there are a lot of trans people who have served honorably across our armed services, just really fucking good at what they do. Not showing up, not putting forth their political views, not trying to convince people of any one ideology or not, but went through transition a decade, 2 decades ago, and have served honorably defending our shores. I'm pretty sure that gay people and trans people are no better and no worse at killing people than straight people, and no less competent. So what he is doing is reducing the potential pool of people for our armed services at a point where we need it the most. We are having such a difficult time recruiting people to join the armed services who are qualified. So all this does is reduce the top of the funnel, because people go, I mean, look at our former secretaries of defense. I think of Secretary Cohn. You know, he was a Republican, but he was out of the limelight. These are people who are supposed to be focused on systemic structural change, and they're supposed to be an intersection. Typically, it's a civilian appointment, so they don't get weaponized and they're not just circling the globe with all this tough bullshit talk. They're usually a civilian that understands the intersection between technology, investment, and our armed service. And what Secretary Hegseth should be focused on is we are spending more than every nation combined, and we might have an outdated military. Asymmetric warfare is where he should be focused on. He should be focused on cyber command. He should be focused on information warfare and trying to figure out how we push back on Russia in exchange for having the largest military R&D operation in history in Ukraine, because Ukraine has shown that a $300 drone can take out a $3 million tank. That's the future of warfare. That's the kind of shit the secretary should be focused on, not this performative.
Well, it doesn't play as well. I mean,
well, fair enough.
For an audience of one who was there, and I want to talk about what Trump said, but you are talking about the Secretary of Defense who put classified plans in an open chat on Signal. So, but I agree with everything that you've said, and it was, much more thoughtful than me just being mad about Tom Hanks. But, Trump last minute came to do this, to speak to the generals. And to me, it was just a clear laying out the plan that you people sitting there in the audience are going to have to support me when I take over these American cities. And they're just priming us for the militarization of our country, and that we're eventually going to be living under martial law. I mean, Trump said, I told Pete about Hegseth, we should use these dangerous cities as training grounds for our military, National Guard, but our military, because we're going into Chicago very soon. That's a big city with an incompetent governor, stupid governor. He also said San Francisco and Chicago, New York, Los Angeles will straighten them out one by one. It will be a major part for some of the people in this room. It's a war too. It's a war from within. So first of all, I don't want to hear from anybody who's all hot and bothered about the language coming from the left. I mean, here we are again with the enemy from within. We're going to take over your cities because you don't vote like me. And they say it's about fighting crime, right? And I am not one of those people who's going to minimize the fact that over 50% of people in a city like DC say that violent crime is a concern for them. But the American people are seeing through this. The new New York Times Siena poll said, which of the following is more concerning to you? That crime will spiral out of control in big cities unless the National Guard gets involved, 42%, or that Donald Trump could use the National Guard to intimidate his political opponents, 51%. And the right always assume
using pink salt every day didn't work for me at first. But when I dropped from 179 to 126, I realized
that the average American is too dumb to see what they're doing. Donald Trump even said it before he became president, that he would want to run as a Republican because the people are dumber. And that's what really concerns me. I'm not saying we need to go around calling everyone a fascist, and I don't want to incite any violence. But you listen to what he's saying, and that's complete authoritarian playbook stuff. It's unvarnished, and it's very specific to do that to an audience filled with generals who are keeping us safe all over the world.
Yeah, it's a basic political pattern that defines our politics, and that is the Democrats do something stupid. They want to call the homeless the unhoused instead of actually addressing the problem. And a lot of our biggest cities run by Democrats are a bad product. What do I mean by that? They're expensive and bad. You know, if you live in San Francisco or New York and there's a homeless person on your corner, you lose empathy because you're paying fucking 13% taxes and you don't feel safe on the subway. And Democratic leadership in these cities has been more focused on virtue signaling and being seen as progressive than actually implementing programs, making tough decisions that improve the material and psychological well-being of their citizens. And then the second part of this algorithm around politics is the Republicans take advantage of that cloud cover and incompetence or overreach by Democratic policies and sweep in with a radical overreaction. The military does not arrest people. They're not there to protect people. The military is to accomplish missions and occasionally kill people, not to arrest people or gather evidence that actually results in a conviction. That's just not what they do. They're not trained for that. In addition, it takes our eye off the ball on keeping our military primed for real threats, whether it's having a fantastic Navy and submarine fleet, making sure that China has no illusions around the Straits of Taiwan or going into Taiwan. It's about ensuring we have a really strong presence in Europe. And instead we're trying to normalize, like you said, the weaponization of our military in case we want to, pervert.
I mean, this shit that's going on in America is just fucking insane. Just insane. What the hell has this guy got on his head? On there. Thanks a lot, Smoke. You get your t-shirts yet? I know, it's insane, dude. I really think, see what I think is happening, I think this whole thing this is all smoke and mirrors, right? What they're really doing is they're having one-on-one with these generals. They're figuring out who's loyal, who will send troops. They're probably asking a question. If we tell you to send your troops into a city, will you? Yes or no? That's what they're doing. There's one question. If they answer no, they're going to say, right? I know. And when they say no, they're going to say, we think you should retire. You're not built for the military. We think you should fire. That's what they're asking one question, all these generals. If we tell you to send troops into an American city, will you? Will you obey the command of your of your, of your president? Yes or no? That's all it takes. One fucking question for you to, why am I coming here? Hey, let's get a muffin, I guess. Sausage, egg, cheese muffin, セット。はい、オレンジジュース。はい、お願いします。Alright. One of my favorite breakfast. Yeah, that was it. It's all smoke and mirrors. Just kind of to kind of show off that that they're let's see here. Ikura?
530円です。ソーセージコーヒーのセットオレンジジュースだけでよかったです。
はい。
はい。
Let's see here. 1, 2. Oh, how much do I have here? 5, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8. いくら？いくら？あ、
530円。600円でいいですか？
はい。お。はい、ありがとう。Yeah, theはい、ありがとう。はい、ありがとう。It's just crazy, man. Oh no.
The elections. And if you don't want to be called a fascist, stop acting like a fucking fascist. Hitler didn't roll into Poland. The first thing he did was convince Germans that it was socialists, Jews, and the trade unionists who were the real enemy. He declared war on other Germans before he rolled into Poland with his Panzer tanks. So that is what's happening here. That this notion that it's the enemy within and deploying the military. And I feel really sorry for these guys and women who have to go into these cities and don't know what to do and are picking up trash and creating this environment. The Democrats, I don't want to say invited this, but
we made it easy.
Made it possible.
Yeah.
Made it possible for an overreaction, whether it's DEI that goes too far, whether it's letting a trans swimmer show up to a collegiate event and win events. We create cloud cover, we make ridiculously stupid decisions, and we set the table for a massive overreaction from the Republicans. And in my view, that's what happened here.
Yeah.
All right, let's leave it there, Jess. We'll be back with more.
Good. See you later.
Thinning hair? This makes your hair grow like crazy.
It's not your hormones, it's not your genetics.
Hope that a Democratic or a civic or business leader comes up and figures out a way, without being too preachy and too drunk with power, figures out targeted ways to deploy the economic power. We're in America, it's all about money, folks. To deploy that economic power.
Everyone, this is Pivot from New York Magazine and the Vox Media Podcast Network. I'm Kara Swisher.
And I'm Scott Galloway.
And Scott, we are hitting the road together, bringing Pivot live to the people.
This is so exciting.
Are you excited?
I am excited. I think it's going to be great. I love meeting our I think come on, fans, our family. They're really family for
They're
us,
really family.
Sarah.
Yeah,
Family.
okay. Well, we're going to 7 cities, just so you know, fans. Toronto, Boston, New York, D.C., Chicago, San Francisco, and L.A.
Some of the most poorly managed cities in the union. We're there. We're coming in with rifles. We're going to clean this shit up, Kara. They're sending us in. Thank God we're here. Thank God we're here. This will be bigger than Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl, bigger than Taylor Swift, and also much, much less expensive. Imagine you're on psilocybin and you go to see the remake of The Wizard of Oz at the Sphere, and you run into Dead Nana and Dead Pop-Pop. Nothing compared to what's about to happen at Pivot Live in Toronto.
And I promise you, Scott's going to dress up like a showgirl. Anyway, for tickets, head to pivottour.com. But we have slightly less important stuff to talk about today, too. A lot of news. So let's dig in. Donald Trump just announced that he's imposing a 100% tariff on any and all movies that are made outside of the United States. He did not explain when this will happen or how it will work. Remember, he made the same threat back in May. They make a lot of movies outside. This actually will affect Netflix finally. But what do you think of this situation?
I think it's more unnecessary own goal, cell phone, stupidity. So more than 50%, one of the best performing stocks in media, and arguably what has kept the entire media ETF ecosystem above, that's kept it from being just abysmal and has fueled Hollywood with record content budgets is Netflix. And more than 50%, the majority of Netflix content budget is now produced overseas. So does that mean he's going to start tariffing Netflix and dramatically increase the cost of subscriptions, dramatically decrease the amount of content people get for their Netflix subscription, and gut the stock price, which has been one of the best performers over the last 10 years?
Yes, that's what his intention is.
And almost every Marvel movie now has some component of it made overseas.
All of them.
Yeah, so if you think about what's happening, I love the term arbitrage, and that is there's two ways to add shareholder value. One is to increase the top line, the other is to decrease costs. And if you think about media has mostly, well, it's been both. There's been, because of streaming, there's been a war and an increase in subscriptions and top line revenue because everyone now has 3 or 4 subscriptions per household, which has inspired an arms race where there's a ton of content spending on the top line. The other way you add shareholder value is that $18 billion in content that Netflix produces is $30 billion worth of content from 10 years ago, because they say, okay.
This is just a distraction, dude. This is just a distraction. It's just, he's just throwing chum to the, so people talk about fucking movies. It's so obvious that this shit is just noise. It's ridiculous. I can't listen to this shit, dude. Ugh, so annoying.
To $20,000 off MSRP. Leases from $399 per month with 0 down and available 0% APR.
All right, guys. I know this topic and some of these demonstrations are going to be kind of sensitive for some. However, it's not for clickbait. It's just as a former sniper, I just want to answer some of the questions floating around in my own head. If you want to stick around, I think it should be pretty eye-opening. You're going to see we have some pretty low-tech ways of proving these points. If you're interested in helping the channel grow, maybe give a glimpse over at our biggest sponsor. Big welcome back to my entire family, wherever with kind of occurred in our maybe not in the best long time. You know, the the round that was used in the Charlie Kirk assassination has a tremendous amount of power and should shoot straight through bone without very little inflection on the round. However, just from my prior experience, I was very interested to know if the particular round struck bone at a certain angle, would it cause it to redirect the energy of that round up and into the neck, causing that blood splatter to travel in the way that it did. I know this is all kind of grotesque to some and you know, graphic explanations to others. I hope you understand that we research all this just so we know better how to break down what happened, just so we can, you know, understand it better and explain it, because there's tons of questions out there. And I tried to deep dive and take in all the content that's out there, reviewing it from
I don't know if the government shutdown, I mean, what Trump is doing with the government shutdown, he's using it, he's already weaponized it. He says, if you shut it down, we're going to be firing people, which is something he wants, you know. I think that Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, I mean, he just did that meme to make fun of them. Yeah, he wants chaos. So he's weaponizing, and I don't know, you know, he's weaponizing the shutdown. I think they should shut it down. They should say fuck him and shut it down, is my opinion. I don't think and they don't have a unified plan. It means, listen, you can't send troops into fucking, they should pick the things that people care about, right? You just can't weaponize. We have states, we have a constitution, you got to abide by it. And, you know, the Republican Congress is not doing their job. They're not, you know, and I think they should highlight like all the big, beautiful bill bullshit and stuff like that, you know, on it. But I think Jeffries and Schumer are not the, you know, are politicians weak, you know. We need, you know, I don't even know if, I mean, I don't know who would be the person you would to replace Jeffries. I mean, AOC, you know that black woman, what's her name? Who's the black woman in Texas? That's who we need. Fucking, what's her name? Bernie? The black woman who called Marjorie Taylor Greene built, butch back, better built. We need Jasmine Crockett. We need to stick Jasmine Crockett. Texas girl. Miss Crockett. Stick Miss Crockett. Stick Miss Crockett on Trump. Crockett on Trump. Yeah, that's what we need. We need Crockett on Trump. Crockett on Trump. Like, you know, like ripping out his fucking hair. You know, I can see the memes now. You know, she just jumps up on him like a vampire. Yeah, that's what we need. We need like a Crockett. So I don't know. I mean, the whole shutdown thing, I mean, happening right now. I think that this whole military thing is you know, the shutdown is because I think you're going to see people being let go. And I think the whole shutdown thing that's going to transpire, if it does. But I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like the Democrats have they're like chickens with their head cut off. Doesn't it feel like chickens with their head cut off? He wants martial law. He definitely wants martial law. That's why he's bringing the generals back. He's checking to see which ones are going to toe the line, which are going to fucking pledge an oath of loyalty to him. I know. I know. But the Democrats could have done so much more. Like when that black guy stood up and they censored that black guy, every single fucking Democrat should have walked out when Trump was speaking. They should have done. I mean, like what the Texas Democrats did was a lot more ballsy than what our fucking Democrats are doing in the in the Senate, right? Or I mean in the House. Yeah, I don't know about AOC. I mean, I don't know about her. I think she seems to have kind of, she used to be a lot more fiery than she is now. I'd go for Crockett. I like Crockett. Yeah, I know. He's a cult member. A cult member coming in here. What's this guy got to do? Just curious what his demonstration is.
I could not, of course, in time get a clavicle bone. So the closest representation to a human clavicle in the animal kingdom is the rear femur of a alligator or crocodile. They almost look identical. The human clavicle being a little thinner. However, on very short notice, this is the best I could get. This is a bone from a cow, and it does have filling in it, and that will allow us to potentially just see if the strike of the round, we're going to try to angle it so you have a sharper angle, kind of at like you would at the top of your clavicle. Thank him.
Let's see what happens with
To prevent that from conspiracy theory start. Cool. Now you can see. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead, set up downrange. And I've already confirmed on the rifle. So we've let it cool down. So our first shot will be a cold bore shot, and we will just see what kind of results we are able to duplicate.
Shooting Charlie's neck. Let's see that again. That's Charlie. There's Charlie. I mean, the idea.
All right, guys. So the first shot, we did strike the bone. Very interesting. Maybe if Jay can kind of zero in on this. The strike of the round was just slightly to the 130 of where we wanted to strike it at to give us the best chance. However, what is kind of interesting is you do see that from the strike of the bullet, the trajectory of the round actually was changed ever so slightly. And as you could see, as we move the target out of the way, it did cause that round to go down, which was my previous experience that I'd spoke of earlier in the episode.
Look at the amount of damage behind
however, like we did kind of also
this is cow bone.
Think the bone stood no chance against a 30 caliber round traveling at that high of a velocity. So now we're going to give it, reset it back up and put the ballistic plate in front of it and see if we can't duplicate that shot as well. Ballistic plate in front of it and see if we can't duplicate that shot as well.
Look at the amount of damage. Look at the amount of damage a fucking bullet does.
To explain some things. So you can see it did impact the very top edge of this armor, and the hard backing back here, it was actually deflected from the front up through and off the back without fully going through the armor, which is exactly the shot we were hoping to duplicate So feel very fortunate that we were able to do that. Now you can see the trajectory did travel up, and we actually have some damage right here, just kind of back behind the skull, which could potentially explain the redirection of the round and there not being an exit wound or a bullet hole that you
specialist, Zeb Boykin. He has a YouTube channel called Outside the Overton, and he's going to provide his expert analysis.
And it comes here, and it comes across. And I'll demonstrate I'll show you exactly where it's at here. And it comes across. My shirt's a little bit tighter than his is, but the point remains the same. And that's why his mic is almost vertical in this frame, right? It's pinched up. It's pinched up. It's not flat like most people wear it. With the magnet, it's pinched because it's grabbing the cord. And so the cord is, I just had to unplug mine, but let's say he's got it tucked in right here. And he's sitting down, so it's kind of crunched up a little bit. And when it hits, it pops up, right? So you can see the cord is somewhat similar to where his is. Boom, there's your cord. It pulls from the shockwave. And it grabs the shirt and pulls it up. I'll explain that here in a second. And so this is, the cord is running down through the neck. It pulls the collar up, and the shockwave pulls the rest of the cord with it. That's why it looks like it's a circle. Let me get situated. So that's why it's a circle. Luckily, y'all heard everything. And then it pulls up, right? And so when it pops, this probably pops off. Maybe it doesn't. It doesn't matter. It's kind of irrelevant at this point. But it's just a little DJI mic. He probably has something extremely similar. All that being said, this is angle number 2, and this is what we are looking at right now. Like I said, this looks like body armor, but it doesn't because it's the cord kind of catching the shockwave. We're going to roll into, I'm not going to let you watch the leak, but basically it's an open wound. That's an exit wound, not an entry. Entry doesn't do that. I would say it's a smaller caliber than a 30-06. A 30-06 would make a much bigger hole. I could probably pull up.
All right. So yeah, I think that is one of the better explanations that we've seen so far. Now, when I first went through the evidence, it looked kind of like to me like there might have been some body armor. And so my first analysis had me thinking that it was a deflection from like a steel plate or something that he was using as body armor. But there is another clip that I don't have handy right now, but it's where they're carrying him out to the SUV. And while they're carrying him, his shirt kind of rides up over his stomach, and you can see that there's nothing on his stomach. You don't see his chest, but in other videos, you can see like his nipples are actually showing through his t-shirt. And so I don't think there was a chest plate, and I don't think there was a bulletproof vest. And if there was a blood bag, it was probably hidden somewhere else, like maybe under his armpit. So to me, it's looking like the most likely would be the mic cord.
Yeah, and that was something that I noticed right away, shortly after the shooting. It seemed like his shirt there was something under it, which was...
Yeah, and especially the edge of his collar where the cord was, that was what popped up the highest. It even came up higher than his jawline even. And I think that's because all of the slack was taken out of the cord and it pulled his shirt up with it.
Did we see the earpiece come out in that clip?
There is another clip I have that I think shows it. It's I think it's from one of the front angles where it shows, you can see the cord coming up from behind, and
We'll see it later.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, there's another clip where you can see the earpiece come out, and that's when the cord is lifted. Okay, and then let's talk a little bit about the caliber. So the official story is that it's a 30-06, which is a pretty big bullet, but looking at the wound, it would suggest it was a smaller caliber. I'm gonna play that right here.
I would say it's a smaller caliber than a 30-06. A 30-06 would make a much bigger hole. All right, and so we're looking at something like this. You see that's it's obviously not the scale, but this is what we're looking at, right? We have an exit wound, let's call it 38, 53, 57, 9 mil, probably a 9 mil. I assumed when we were first breaking the story, I assumed it was a closer shot than, these are all pistol rounds, but
something along the lines of a 38. They claim rifle. It sounds like a rifle. Doesn't sound like 30-06. Sounds like something smaller, maybe 5.56, maybe. I wouldn't think 7.62. 7.62 is a little bit deeper sound.
So the rifle they found will not accommodate a smaller caliber bullet than the 30-06, right?
Yeah. Right, yeah. So the 30-06, the Mauser 30-06 is made to chamber only a 30-06 round. If you tried to put a smaller round in there, it wouldn't be compatible.
And they also said the casing was still in the rifle, which means
No,
it couldn't
Charlie
have been disassembled or taken apart.
You don't want to talk Charlie Kirk? No, Charlie Kirk. Dude, the thing is that the whole point of Charlie Kirk is that the guy Tyler, this is my point. The point is Charlie Kirk is that they're going to kill Tyler. They're going to kill the shooter. They're going to kill the shooter, guys. They're going to kill the shooter. That's my point. Let's go for a walk. They're going to kill this kid because they don't want to go to trial. That's my whole point, the whole Charlie Kirk thing. They're going to kill the kid because they can't convict him. Right? Tyler's a patsy. Yeah. He's a patsy, and they're going to kill the patsy. And my whole point of saying this over and over is to get people to say they're going to kill the patsy. Because they don't want the patsy to go to, they don't want the patsy to go to court. So that's my whole thing of doing the Charlie Kirk stuff. Who killed Charlie Kirk? He didn't do it. Tyler did not kill Charlie Kirk. Right? Yep. So they're going to kill this kid to close up the trial. That's why they already have him in a suicide vest. You know, and we got to be talking about it. I mean, it makes more sense to me that Israel did it. All right, the reason why I think Israel did it is, number one, they want Turning Point. Number two, his wife worked for Israel, and they were having troubles from what I understand. Number three, you know, there's plenty of weeks before there was talks about his fear. It's a river outside my house. It's called Hyogol. It's got 48 species of fish in it. Look at all the fishes. Lots of fish moving, a lot of movement down there. Look at all the fish movement. A lot of activity down in there. Yeah, they're going to kill this kid because he doesn't want him to go to trial. Someone's going to kill him. Yeah, sure it was. I agree. I mean, no ear heals like in a day or two. His ear, he had the thing off his ear. He didn't want to wear he didn't want to wear his ear patch. Fucking fake. What's up, James? St. James, you're a Nazi. Yeah, they did the same thing to Epstein. They don't want him going to trial. They're going to kill this kid. So that's right, Tira. Yeah, it wasn't a palm gun. There's a picture, I mean, there's a picture of a guy, it looks like shooting like on a balcony that lines up with the shot. You know, people pointed it out. It's blurry though. But the thing is that all the video has gone. All the video, the you know, the person running security for the event, all the video stuff is gone. Oh my God, it's too hot. It's gonna watch, sun's out. I'm gonna get cooked here. Yeah, so I just think we need to be people need to be talking about predicting, like all the stuff I predicted. The Gray Swan event happened. I'm just predicting another thing. This kid's gonna be killed. They're gonna, you know, they're gonna have him killed. It's just obvious. Yeah. That's right, JM. Oh, God. 0102. I'm trying to get the fucking shit working. I'm looking forward to the next episode of Peacemaker. God damn, it's hot. Yeah, I know. That's the thing is that his attorney is gonna be able to say he's not gonna make it. They're gonna kill him. They're gonna kill him. They're trying to figure out when would be a good time, because it'd be too obvious right now. I mean, when would you kill him? You know? I like the other one. Hey, JS. The tech bros are colluding with the deep state. They made the deep state. All of the crypto guys now are in power. You know? Make America gay again. That's what we want. Everyone should just go gay pride. Make America sane again. Yeah. Why we all should go gay pride? I should harvest my that stuff. What's that called? My little lilies. Oh, my figs. There's one fig. Thanks for reminding me of my figs, Vic. Let's see if there's any figs to eat. I don't see any. See one here. Oh, there's a big one. Look at that one. Look at that one right there. Oh, still a little early. I should let. There's some over here. Oh, that's a good one. Look at this one. Look at that. Beautiful. Mmm. Bugs out. Bite the tops off where the flies been laying their maggots. There's one right there. That's a good one there too. Gorging on my plums. Eating them every day. I saw some up in here. And I get to What the hell happened here? So much rain came down. There you go. I have shit coming off of my Oh, all right. Well, fuck, dude. I'll be back later. I need to There's one spider here. Little spider there. Look at my cabbages are coming. Lemongrass. Well, I have a tomato plant still trying to grow here. This tomato plant is over season. Tomato plant. Oh no. Let's bring this water in. My spring water from yesterday. Get my other water out of the car. All right. Put this in my fridge upstairs. I have plenty of water. Keep myself hydrated. $9. In Japan. Living life in Japan, far away from the Nazi America. water.